power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Most High blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land, which the Most High thy power giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen. You may be seated. At this time, we're going to have 7 brothers come up and read 7 verses from what we picked off last week. Again, Shabbat Shalom. My name is Brother Shawan from the nation of Israel, tribe of Judah. We're picking up in Revelations chapter 16, starting in verse 9. And men were scorched with great heat and blasphemed the name of Ahiah, which has power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. And the 5th angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. Verse 11, and blasphemed Ahiah of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Verse 13, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of a beast, and out of the mouth of a false prophet. Verse 14, for they are spirits of the devils, working miracles, which go forth unto kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to battle of that the great day of the Most High Almighty. Verse 15 and last, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Robert David, and this is the book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 16. And he gathered them together in a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And the 7th angel poured out his vial unto the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, it is done. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before the Most High, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blasphemed the Most High because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. Chapter 17, verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Verse 2 and last. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Amen.
Shalom, family. Brother Myron, tribe of Judah. Tribe of Benjamin. Salagia. Reading from the book of Revelation, chapter 17, starting at verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet-colored, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Christ. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carried her, which had the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into prediction, and they that is not and yet is. Verse 9 and last. And here is the mind which had wisdom, the 7 heads and 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, family. All right, picking up at Revelation chapter 17, verse 10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is the 7th, and goeth into perdition. Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no power, no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. And he is the Lord of lords, King of kings, and they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful. And he said unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. 16 and last. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Praise and glory to the Most High for his day of rest. We're in the book of Revelations, chapter 17, and I'm going to start at verse 17. For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. Verse 18. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Revelation chapter 18, verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. Verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Verse 3. And all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich, that ye receive not of her plagues. Verse 5 and last. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High remembered her iniquities. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. His brother Ron from the tribe of Judah, picking up at Revelation chapter 18, verse 6. Reward her, even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Lord Ahiah, who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, and of pearls and fine linen, and purple and silk and scarlet, and all thine wood, and all manner of vessels of ivory, and all manner of vessels of precious wood, and of brass and iron and marble, and cinnamon and odors and ointments, and frankincense and wine, and oil and fine flour and wheat, and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots.
Shabbat Shalom. Brother Rawchaa, tribe of Judah, reading from Revelation chapter 18, verse 15. And the merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold, and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster, and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her. Verse 21, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Brother Robinson, picking up in Revelations, chapter 18, verse 22. And the voice of the harpers and the musicians and of pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman of whatsoever craft he may be shall be found any more in thee. And the sounds of milestones shall be heard no more at all in thee. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. And the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth. For by the sorceries were all nations deceived, and in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that was slain upon the earth. Revelations 19, verse 1. And after these things I heard a great voice of much people in heaven, saying, Hallelujah, salvation and glory and honor and power in the Lord our God, for the true and righteous are his judgments. For he have judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and have avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. And again they said, Hallelujah, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. Amen.
Shalom, everyone. Brother Christian, Nation of Israel, picking up at Revelations 19 and 14. 4. Salakia. And the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshipped the Most High that sat on the throne, saying, Amen. And a voice came out of the throne, saying, Praise our power, all ye his servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard, as it were, the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thundering, saying, For the Lord power omnipotent reigneth. Let us be glad and rejoice, and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of the Most High. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Brother Malachi, Tribe of Judah, Nation of Israel, picking up at Revelations 19 and 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yeshua. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yeshua is the spirit of prophecy. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doeth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with the vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of the Most High. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule over them with a rod of iron. He shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the and wrath of the Almighty power. Amen. So we just want to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody here. Hope you guys had a blessed week. And if not, we're going to get it right today, right? Praise the Most High. So right now we want to welcome the G.O.C.C choir to get us fired up, get us riled up, giving praise to the Most High for another day. Come on up now, choir. We've been waiting all week for this. Come on up.
could just put it for you and you could fix it. Where you want me to put it? Middle?
Yasharala, as we gather into the house of the Most High God one more time. We're going to bring the presence from the bottom of our hearts and exalt his holy and precious name. Because his name is to be praised amongst all the calling, amongst all the nations and all the lands. Let's exalt the name of the Most High Yahweh.
All right, y'all, so you know what time it is. We're going to start moving forward. He's not good for some, he's good all the time. All right, we're going to take this time to go. Lord, so good. Come on. power that we serve is not just a regular power. He's the God of all gods, King of all kings. And he rules from the heaven. The earth is his footstool. Let us continue to give him the praise and glory and the honor that his name deserves. Let's bring it from the bottom of our hearts. Come on. All right, we ain't gonna stop there. We ain't gonna act like the Most High bring us through a week full of tribulation and trials and kept us on our feet, kept us in a sound mind, sound body. We're gonna continue to praise his name. Come on. Not just a part-time God. He's a full-time God. When we not even realize what he's doing for us, he's still there for us. Come on. That's how we do it, Sopranos. Come on. Tell the Most High how we go. Tell them how you really feel. Come on. Woo! Let's go, all tones. That's how we do it. Now tell us we gotta bring it. Come on. Praise to the Most High. 1, 2, 1, 2. All praise to the Most High, a higher. He is good. All praise to the Most High. praise to the Most High. So what we're going to do now, we're going to face to the east for the 9th hour prayer. Ahaya, Asha Ahaya, Bahashem, Yeshaya, Rabawak Kodash. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Shemai, Yasha Allah, Ahaya, Allahayanawa, Ahaya, Achad. Shemai, Yasha Allah, Ahaya, Allahayanawa, Ahaya, Achad. Shemai, Yasha Allah, Ahaya, Allahayanawa, Ahaya, Achad. Amen. All praise to the Most High, Ahaya. If y'all brothers don't mind, I'll bring that table from the back. The water. Your time, make sure the audio is coming on clear. I had to lower it down. For some reason, when it was playing the music, piano and everything distorted. I think it was down, but it's still distorted. 1, 2, mic check, 1, 2.
Mic check, 1, 2, mic check. Testing 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
So let me hear your mic again.
Mic check, 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic check.
One more time.
Testing 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Testing.
All right,
1, 2.
The water. 1, 2. I always get the dead mic. I don't know. Is that battery there? Is it? All right, green means gold. All right, Shabbat Shalom, family. Let's give the Most High a round of applause. We are here breathing.
We're still enduring. We're still in this fight. We got to give all praise and glory to the Most High for that. All praise to the Most High, higher. So we know that we in the time, brothers and sisters. We definitely in the time. We have to, prepare ourselves when it comes to these things, right? All these things that's happening to us right now. Like, I think that almost half of the people who are in here are sick. You understand what I'm saying? People with colds or fever, whatever the case is, but this is all part of it, all right? These are all the attacks that are coming on right now, all right? So we have to just keep on enduring physically, spiritually, and mentally, right? All praise to the Most High. That's a con. And my brother Kazaa said, that's Shaka Khan right there. Shaka Khan. Love that brother, man. All right, Elder's gonna be joining us soon. I just want to address something real quick. Last week I had looked online. I like to do that usually when I do lessons to see exactly what comments people want to put up or any questions, right? So last week regarding that lesson that I did regarding doing the law according to faith, certain people I seen online got, kind of shook up about that. And it's very interesting, right? Excuse me. Thyroid thing acting up now. All right. So one question that the person asked, right? No, they didn't even ask the question. They pretty much made a statement. It was like, listen, I don't care what nobody says. I'm wearing fringes. I don't care what no man says. This is something I need to do. All right? All right. Question, brothers and sisters. Did you hear from out of my mouth that I said that you shouldn't wear fringes? So I'm wondering where this person got this from. Let's go to Galatians. I think that the confusion comes out when I went to Galatians, right? Go to Galatians. And we can start at chapter 5. And we can start at verse 1. Yatar, are we coming in clear? We're good? All right, go on. All right, so Galatians chapter 5, verse 1.
Galatians 5 and 1. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free.
So Paul says that we should stand, therefore, in the liberty, the freedom which Christ hath made us free. Continue.
And be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage.
And if you read in Galatians chapter 4, it's talking about going back into bondage dealing with idolatry and stuff like that, right? They first was in bondage with the curse of the law and being removed from the curse of the law and then going right back into idolatry. So he said to remove yourself from the yoke of bondage, right? Continue.
Behold, I, Paul, say unto you, that if ye be circumcised, Christ shall profit you nothing.
So Paul says that I say unto you, if you be circumcised, Christ profit you nothing. He said it will profit you nothing. So I made a statement. I said the same thing goes with fringes and certain things that have to make you almost glory in the flesh. To say, look what I got, look what I did. Right? This is the statement I made. Right? So he says, I say unto you that if you be uncircumcised, Christ shall not profit you nothing. Right? Continue.
For I testify again to every man that is circumcised, that he is a debtor to do the whole law.
So he's saying that if you're going to go and apply these things, I will tell you this, that you have to be a full debtor of the law. That means you have to complete everything that's in the old covenant. If you go do this thing, right? That you're saying that this is what's going to benefit you in salvation. Right? Continue.
Verse 4. Christ is become of no effect unto you. Whosoever of you are justified by the law, ye are fallen from grace.
So you hear that? So he says that if you want to justify yourself in the law according to the things that justify in the flesh, you have fallen from grace. So if you think that you're going to glory on the things that you have done, you stop eating pork and you're wearing fringes, and that means nothing. It means nothing. And he's going to explain what that means when it says that it means nothing, right? Continue.
Verse 5. For we through the Spirit wait for the hope of righteousness by faith. For in Yeshua Christ neither circumcision availeth anything, nor uncircumcision, but faith which worketh by love.
So he says that circumcision availeth nothing, and uncircumcision availeth nothing. Both of them is not where salvation lies. Right? Continue.
Verse 7. Ye did run well. Who did hinder you that ye should not obey the truth?
So Paul says, wait, so he's saying that by making them go back into that, into bondage, into the old covenant, he's saying that y'all was running well and when y'all did it with faith, but now somebody's coming in now and telling you how to go back under the old covenant so y'all could not fulfill everything that's according to the law and then be back in the curse. You have run well. It says, who did hinder you that you should not obey the truth? What is the truth? The faith, the faith and the justification in the faith of believing in Christ. Right? Continue.
This persuasion cometh not of him that calleth you.
So he said, this persuasion cometh not from him that calleth you. Who that calleth you is Christ. Right? Continue.
A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. I have confidence in you through the Lord, that ye will be none otherwise minded, but he that troubleth you shall bear his judgment, whosoever he be. And I, brethren, if I yet preach circumcision, why do I yet suffer persecution?
Hold on. See that? He's in the beginning, he says that, listen, the circumcision will profit you anything. Circumcision wouldn't profit you anything when it comes to salvation. But he says, but listen, I preach circumcision. So if I preach circumcision, why am I being persecuted for that? Continue.
Then is the offense of the cross ceased.
So it's not that Paul was preaching against circumcision. He's saying that if you're gonna feel that these things that you do in the flesh is gonna justify you according to your spirit, you're wrong. That's what he's saying. He's not saying stop, don't do circumcision. He said, listen, I preach circumcision. I'm preaching circumcision. So why am I being persecuted for this? But he's trying to show the people show brothers and sisters that, listen, you cannot be justified according to your flesh. You cannot lie on these things. It says that let's go to it. Galatians 3. So I'm not telling anybody to don't wear fringes. I'm wearing fringes today. If I told you don't wear fringes and I'm wearing fringes, I'm a hypocrite. I'm not telling anybody not to wear fringes. Of course not. But I'm telling you that these are things that are not salvation. Like I said before, how many people died in the wilderness with fringes on? Got swallowed whole with fringes on, borders of blue and everything. Brother, which blue is better? You know, the violet or either one? You're getting swallowed up if you don't follow in the faith. Galatians chapter 3, and you can start at. Let's start first one.
O foolish Galatians, who hath bewitched you, that ye should not obey the truth, before whose eyes Yeshua Christ hath been evidently set forth, crucified among you? This only would I learn of you. Receive ye the Spirit by the works of the law, or by the hearing of faith? Are you so foolish, having begun in the Spirit, and ye now made perfect by the flesh?
So when Paul preached to these people, they were understanding what the Spirit was about. They had got it. And then all of a sudden, somebody came and persuaded them and said, listen, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, according to the flesh. Right? So he said, are you so foolish, having begun in the Spirit and now made perfect in the flesh? Right? Continue.
Have you suffered so many things in vain, if it be yet in vain? He therefore that ministereth to you the Spirit, and worketh miracles among you, doeth he it by the works of the law, or by the hearing of faith? Even as Abraham believed the Most High, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. Know ye therefore that they which are of faith, the same are the children of Abraham. And the scripture, foreseeing that the Most High would justify the heathen through faith, preached before the gospel unto Abraham, saying, in thee shall all nations be blessed. So then they which of faith are blessed with faithful Abraham. For as many as are of the works of the law are under the curse. For it is written, Cursed is every one that continueth not in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them.
So if you're trying to justify yourself according to the works of the law, you are under the curse. Sacrifices, libation, these things, and these things will cause you to still be under the curse. Right? Continue.
Verse 11. But that no man is justified by the law in the sight of the Most High, it is evident, for the just shall live by faith.
So it says, but that no man is justified by the law in the sight of the Most High. It is evident. If that was not true, Christ would not have came. If it was not true, then we didn't need a new covenant. Right? Continue.
And the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them.
So it says the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them. And that person who did it was Christ. Right? Continue.
Christ hath redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, Cursed is every one that hangeth on a tree. That the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Christ Yeshua, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith.
So read verse 14 again.
That the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles.
This means come on to the people, right? Blessings on Abraham might come on to the people, right? Continue.
Through Yeshua Christ, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith.
So it says that we might receive the promise. This is what we're seeking for, the promise, right? So it says that we shall seek the promise of the Spirit through faith. Right? Continue.
15. Brethren, I speak after the manner of men. Though it be but a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannulleth or addeth thereto. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. And he saith not, and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Christ. And this I say, that the covenant which was confirmed before of the Most High in Christ, the law which was 430 years after, cannot disannul, that it should make the promise of none effect.
So it says that the law doesn't make the promise of no effect. Right? Continue.
For if inheritance be of the law, it is no more of promise, but the Most High gave it to Abraham by promise.
Then this is the point I wanted to bring up. So it says, for if the inheritance be of the law, it is no more promise. Because if that was the case, right? If the law was for the promise, if that's the case, that anybody who has fringes on or doing things according to the flesh will get in. But the promise was given to a man who was justified by faith. So it says that the only way that you could get into that promise, you had to be like faithful Abraham. It was 430 years before the Lord came that Abraham got the promise. Right? Continue.
Verse 19. Wherefore then serveth the law? It was added because of transgressions.
So wherefore then was served the law then? Continue.
It was added because of transgressions.
It was only added because of our transgressions, to bring us back to how faithful Abraham was. Continue.
Till the seed should come to whom the promise was made, and it was ordained by angels in the hand of a mediator.
Right, stop right there. Let's go to Romans. I believe it's chapter 3. Just had that scripture there. Right, Romans chapter 3, and we can start at verse. We can start at verse 19.
Okay. Now we know that what things soever the law saith, it saith to them who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty before the Most High. Therefore, by the deeds of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight. For by the law...
sorry, read verse 19 again. Sorry about that.
Now we know that what things soever the law saith, it saith to them who are under the law.
So we know that whatsoever the law saith, it saith of them who are under the law, who are the Israelites, right? Go to 1 Timothy again. 1 Timothy. This is 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 8. Now we know that whatever the law saith is for them who are under the law. Right? Continue.
Mm-hmm. But we know that the law is good if a man use it lawfully, knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man.
So we know that whatever the law is, what was made for those who are under the law. So we know that the law was not made for a righteous man. So we know that the things that are under the law is for unrighteous people, which is Israel. Surprisingly, to children of God, right? But this is the reason why it said that we have to be adopted again. We have to be taken back in again, because we were whoring around. That's exactly what we're doing. Went to other gods and everything, unrighteous people. It's not a boast. It's not a boast. Yes, the Most High gave us the law because He loves us, because He wanted us to make sure that we could go on the right path, just like a father would. But the reason why He gave the law because we were going off. So we know that what the law was made for those who are under the law. Verse 9 again.
Knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man.
Knowing this now, we know that the law was not made for a righteous man. This is what I want people to understand. And the thing is that last week again, the audio again, completely off. I really don't understand what's going on with YouTube, man. But this thing has to be spread through all the congregations for them to understand what this is about. We don't want to be carnal Israelites. That's over. That's done with it. We could only worship God in spirit and in truth, and God is a spirit. Therefore, if our Father is spirit, what are we supposed to be then? If the Most High is spirit and we flesh, what that means? That's a bastard child. That's not mine. Who's this? That's not my child. I know my child's spiritual. You trying to show me this is my child? No, this is not mine. This is a flesh. Go back to first Romans. So we know that the law was made for those who are under the law. So when we look at the things that we say that thou shalt not do this, and if a person grabs this, and we know that's talking about our forefathers. We're talking about us. So we always looking what the Gentiles doing. Not looking at in-house, how we off. Romans chapter 3. Start at verse 19 again.
Now we know.
And if I had to, listen, if this thing can't go up, man, I would go to any congregation and teach this. But because this thing has to be known. Right? Romans chapter 3, verse 19.
Now we know that what things soever the law saith, it saith to them who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty before the Most High. Mm-hmm. Therefore, by the deeds of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight.
Therefore, the deeds and the works of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight. Continue.
For by the law is the knowledge of sin.
For the law is the knowledge of sin. The law is there just to reveal the sin. Now what are you going to do with it? That's like you going to the doctor, and the doctor reveal your sickness, and you say, thank you, doctor, I'm out of here. Without getting no cure. Now you know what you're dealing with. Now you know your sickness. What are you supposed to do now? But how? How are you supposed to change? Who are you supposed to change to? Who's that? I can't see somebody. Raise your hand. I can't see you. Okay, go ahead. What are you saying? Uh-huh.
If you are not sinning anymore, if you're not sinning, if you're not sinning anymore, then the law doesn't apply to you. But if you continue in your sin of your things that you was doing before, then the law applies to you in that aspect.
Time.
That's what he's saying.
Absolutely. So now, you know that you're sinning. What is the cure? But how? If you're in the flesh. How are you going to become spiritual? You're able to sit there fasting and praying. But who y'all praying to? To the Most High. You're praying through the mediator to the Most High. You cannot do it on your own. Impossible. It is evident that you can't be justified by it. Because it's been from thousands of years now, we have been saying thou shalt not, and look where we at. A couple of boat rides later. A couple of conquistadors later. It is evident. We had the law. We had everything written down in front of us. But how are we supposed to apply it? Go to Romans. Romans chapter 7. We could say, yeah, we could stop. But how many people now are still dealing with things? We know the law. Romans chapter 7. And let's start at verse 14.
For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin.
So you hear that? Read that again.
For we know that the law is spiritual.
We know absolutely that the law is spiritual. We all know that, right? It came up from the Most High. Of course it's spiritual. It was written by the fingers of the Most High, all the things that we're supposed to do. We know that the law is spiritual, but what?
But I am carnal.
But we know that we are carnal. We know that the law is spiritual, but we are carnal. It's easy to say, yes, oh, the law is right here, I'm going to do it. How are you going to do it if you're still operating in the flesh? How can you do it if you're still carnal? You're not thinking about doing the law. Continue.
Sold under sin. For that which I do, I allow not.
So here is Paul talking about when we apply the law to ourselves and how when we operate in the flesh, these are the things that come in our mind. Read it.
For what I would, that do I not.
So what I want to do, I don't do it. The Most High said to do this, according to my carnal flesh, I don't want to do it. And this is by having the law right in front of our faces.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
But what I hate, that do I.
Read that again.
For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not.
For what I would, I know that I want to do it and I would do it. I end up not doing it. Continue.
But what I hate, that do I.
And we know that the things that the Most High hate, we want to hate it too. We don't want to deal with the things that the Most High hate. Because that's our Father. We don't want to deal with that. But the things that we hate, that we do. How many times when you in the flesh and then that thing happens, you're like, man, I shouldn't have done that. So how is it evident that just by the accordance to the letter that we are justified? Continue.
Verse 16. If then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good.
So if then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that is good. So you go into the law, yeah. See, to find the justification of it, right? Continue.
Now then, is it no more that I do it, but sin that dwelleth in
So
me?
it says that it says that the law is not made for a righteous man. So if you continue going in and digging in and going and trying to find out how to break away from that certain sin, you're unrighteous. And it says that the unrighteous should not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. Continue.
For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh.
So it says, I know that is in me, in my flesh. What?
Dwelleth no good thing.
Some good thing?
No good thing.
A little bit?
No good thing.
Suppose if I look at the Lord, how am I supposed to feel? So I have that in me?
Dwelleth no good thing.
It doesn't dwell anything. There's no good thing in you. According to the flesh, there is no good thing. Not even a little bit. This is the thing that Christ was trying to show us. This is the reason why. This is the thing that the prophets were showing all the time. The prophet's been pointing the finger like, listen, you have to go this direction. Stop dealing with the things carnal. Sawed in half, stone. This is not nothing brand new that came to Israel. The prophet's been preaching this from day one. This is why the scripture says that when the Most High, where's that scripture where it talks about it sends a man to go and get the inheritance, but they killed him, and then after that, I get it. Continue.
For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good, I
Read verse
find
18
not.
again from the top.
For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing.
In my flesh dwelleth no good thing. Continue.
For to will is present with me.
For the will is present with us. We want to do it. We're striving to do it. We want to. It's not that we don't want to. Of course we want to. We know and understand what these things are about, and that we have to get into this kingdom. We know that the will is present with us. Continue.
But how to perform that?
But how to perform it? You see that? The thing is that what the people that was dealing with the carnal understanding of the law, they did not know how to perform it. The will was there for them to do it, but how to perform it? Continue.
But how to perform that which is good, I find not.
But how to perform that which is good, they found not. If they had found a way how to do it, Christ wouldn't have came. There will be there shouldn't be a new covenant if somebody have found a way how to do this.
I would, I do not, but the evil which I would not, that I do.
But the evil that we know that is wicked, because we have the understanding of the law, we understand that we're not supposed to do that. But the evil that you want to stop, but for some reason you cannot do it. You want to stop. We know the law, you're not supposed to do these things. For they operating your vehicle. You in the back seat sitting down like, listen, turn left, turn right. No, where you going? Can't do this. Is my car. So why am I driving it? This is what's going on. So if it continues that you continue doing the same thing, it's no more you. It's called demon possession. Continue.
Verse 21. I find then a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me.
So the thing is that these are the things that our forefathers had lacked, because they didn't understand that there was a law that was dwelling in us. There's a law according to the flesh that we all have that dwells in us. Right? Continue.
For I delight in the law of the Most High after the inward man. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind.
So we delight in the law of the Most High after the inward man. Continue.
But I see another law in my members.
But the thing is that we notice that there's something in us that is holding us back from doing the law. We all see it. Right? Continue.
Warring against the law of my mind.
So there's a war going on in our bodies, brothers and sisters. There's a war. Right? Continue.
And bringing me into captivity to the law of sin which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death?
So we see now that there's something in us that has to be removed. So Paul asks, who is going to deliver us from this? And you're talking about Paul now, a Pharisee that has the law, been circumcised on the 8th day, blameless according to the flesh of the law, according to the law, according to the flesh. And yet he's saying, who shall deliver me from this? And again, I'm going to ask the question, anybody could do the law better than Paul here? Anybody? So if Paul is here saying now that, oh wretched man that I am, Paul, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? That means something. Continue.
Verse 25. I thank the Most High through Yeshua Christ our Lord. So then with the mind I myself serve the law of the Most High, but with the flesh the law of sin.
So it said that in the mind I myself serve. Verse chapter 8.
There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Yeshua, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Yeshua hath made me free from the law of sin and death. For what the law could not do.
Read that again.
Verse 2.
Verse 3.
Verse 3. For what the law could not do.
So for what the law could not do, there's things that the law couldn't do. The law could not bring you from here to the Spirit. You needed somebody to bring you from here to there. The law is there to reveal it. Like, listen, you are sick. That's all it's doing. It's just the doctor. Now he has to go and write something for you to go to a specialist. And that specialist is Christ. Because all what the law was saying is saying that, listen, follow him. Follow him. If you want to remove yourself from this wickedness and from these iniquities, follow him. This is all what the law was saying. And all what the law was saying is the things of the law. All the things that was talking about Christ is the things of the law. So everything that Christ have done is according to the law. So if you follow Christ, then you follow the law. It is that simple. Read verse 3 again.
For what the law could not do.
For what the law could not do.
In that it was weak through the flesh.
It was weak through the flesh. It was weak to the flesh. It's just there for you to see and to say, listen, that's something I'm not supposed to be doing. And then for what that thing is supposed to do, is supposed to bring you towards Christ. And being in Christ will help you to remove that sin. But we must apply ourselves in obedience and suffering with Christ. It must pray and must fasting, brothers and sisters. That's what counts for it. We have to pray to the Most High. We have to pray through Christ. Continue.
The Most High sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh.
So he came in sinful flesh for the Most High sending his Son in likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh. Continue.
That the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh.
Elder, you know that scripture when it talks about that the Most High sent a couple of men to get inheritance, but they killed him and then they sent his son.
Matthew 21.
Matthew 29? No, I was just asking you. Matthew, what's that? Thank you. Matthew 21. All right, Matthew 21 and 23, right?
33.
33, the water. This is what I'm trying to show, brothers, is that the law and the prophets were pointing at Christ from the beginning. Right? So let's read Matthew chapter 21, verse 33.
Hear another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard and hedged it round about, and digged a winepress in it, and built a tower, and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country. And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandmen, that they might receive the fruits of it. And the husbandmen took his servants, and beat one, and killed another, and stoned another.
Right? So the servants, right, they're talking about here are the prophets, right? They're trying to receive the fruits of the people, right? So when the prophets come and they try to go and gather the fruits, they go and kill them. Right? Continue.
Verse 36. Again, he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise. But last of all, he sent unto them his son, saying, they will reverence my son.
So the son is coming to do the same thing that exactly what the prophets came to do, to show you the way. So there's no difference. There's no contradiction. There's no deep thing about it. Do not call, but again, regarding that brother sister that was talking about the fringes and stuff like that, it's because it is a stumbling block. So understand this. Right? Continue.
Verse 38. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and let us seize on his inheritance. And they caught him, and cast him out of the vineyard, and slew him. When the Lord therefore of the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto those husbandmen? Mm-hmm. They said unto him, he will miserably destroy those wicked men, and will let out his vineyard unto other husbandmen, which shall render him to the fruits in their seasons.
Right. So that's basically what I wanted to show, that it's nothing that different that what Christ was doing, and according to the law and the prophets. He came, like he said, he came not to come and to destroy it, but to fulfill it. And it's the reason why he said that, because people will see him doing it and fulfilling it and not understand and not comprehend what is going on, because they had their own justification how to do the law and how to apply it, but yet they couldn't apply it for themselves. So brothers and sisters, again, for those who are online as well too, I'm not saying that you're not supposed to do certain things. I'm telling you that you cannot be justified by those things. Circumcision fringes, it means nothing. That's all that the scriptures are saying, brothers and sisters, that we have to do all things according to the law, according to the Spirit. All right? Khan? All right, all praise to the Most High. All right, so Elder Gabar is coming up now. So without further ado, let's give it up to Elder Gabar. Praise the Most High.
All right, all praise to the Most High. All praise. Let's give the Most High a hand and his only begotten Son once again for his word. All praise to his name. Revealed prophecy to man. He is not bound by time, so neither should we. And we're going to explain what that is. Okay? When you go into prophecy, and I'm going to specifically deal with time and chronology. When you're reading it, especially the book of Revelation, you cannot be bound by time. It's not as if the angel that was speaking to John was speaking from John timeline. But John timeline, from his perspective, is he was seeing things that are going to happen, right? But remember, he was in the spirit in the Lord's day. And the Most High took him and Christ spoke to him. But what timeline Christ was speaking to John the Revelator? When he was speaking to John, John was in the island of Patmos, 1st century. But when Christ was speaking to John sitting in his throne, what time period Christ was in? We're going to get into that. Was he speaking to John? Revelations 1:1. We're going to jump. You set the stage. We're going to probably jump to chapter 4. Then we jump all the way to chapter 14. Okay, we're going to set the stage. So let's read Revelation chapter 1, verse 1.
Revelation 1:1. The revelation of Yeshua Christ, which the Most High gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass.
So when you start reading this, it gives you the perspective, which is true from John's perspective in the island of Patmos, things that are surely must come to pass. Right? Let's read.
And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John,
Uh-huh.
who bear record of the word of the Most High, and of the testimony of Yeshua Christ, and of all things that he saw. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand.
The what?
The time is at hand.
So from John's perspective, he has not witnessed that. The time that he's about to go into is at hand. Right? Okay. I'll touch it another time. Okay, let's go to chapter 4, verse 1.
After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet.
So there's a vision. What he's seeing here is in a vision. He's no longer spiritually in the island of Patmos. He's in heaven right now. And he's seeing the door open. But what time period of heaven is he seeing? Right? We're going to go into that. Let's read.
And the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in the sight like unto an emerald.
Okay, so we understand when we go hold that, go to Daniel. Chapter 7. Most people will say, okay, yeah, this is when Christ went back to heaven. He sat in the right hand of the Father. So he's seen the vision, what's going on in the same time zone as John the Baptist. Right? But is it true? We're going to go. So we know after Christ died, did his mission, went back, conquered Satan in the flesh, went back and he kicked out all of Satan out of heaven, okay? And now he's sitting in the right hand of the Father, in the right hand of the Father, right? So we know this because in Daniel 7. Is it 7? 9. Okay, let's start there.
Daniel 7:9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair on his heads were like the pure wool.
Okay, keep reading.
His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened.
The judgment was set and the books were opened. Read.
I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame.
So he's seen everything, back, past, future, and present. Read.
As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away. Yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time.
When was their dominion taken away? When Christ came and conquered. The royal line of David. He sits on the throne. He took all the keys. So all the demonic forces that are running all the governments are in borrowed time. You could. Let me grab the keys. Let me grab this. Let me grab that. I got that. That mine's. You hold on. You keep doing what you're doing. I'll be back. All this is mine. Letting you know. You're in borrowed time, right? So he already conquered. The victory is in his name. Right? We won already. Right? It hasn't been fulfilled here in the flesh. Right? So you just keep that in mind. But what time period when John went up in the spirit was he was seeing Christ in his throne? Jump down. Verse 9. Start at verse 13.
I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away.
Okay,
and
so we all know that happened when Christ ascended back to heaven. Right? So we know that he's already sitting in that throne. That kingdom has not been revealed yet in his flesh. Right? So let's go back to Revelations. See, you guys pick up certain clues. What time period in the spirit is John the Revelator is seeing this vision? Go back to verse 5 in chapter 4. Start at verse 4.
And round about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting.
Okay. So we do know that the 24 elders, at least 12 of the 24 of the 12 disciples. And we were doing some research. I think Zechariah, you got to remind me. I know we saw something in the Apocalypse of Paul, I think it was. We have to go. I got to remind me. I got to go into with the elders, right? They were named, right? But we're clear the 12 disciples were named, right? So if he saw the 24 elders sitting in the throne, and John the Revelator is one of the disciples, what time period he was looking at it? In the future. When Christ was sitting in the throne, and he already conquered. You guys understand that? So John saw himself. He was one of the 24 elders. He saw a vision. So now it gives you a time period. Right? But it's more. Let's read.
Clothed in white raiment, and had on their heads crowns of gold.
And the precept of that is when you go into, I think, Matthew 19, when Peter said, Lord, we have forsaken all. What should we receive? Ye in the regeneration will sit in 12th throne, judging the 12th tribe of Israel. Right? So that's future. So now when John went in the vision, he saw after Christ came, bound Satan, put him in the bottomless pit, in the 1,000-year rest. So when Christ is speaking to him, he is speaking to him from that perspective, from that time period. Keep that in mind. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 5. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices. And there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High. And before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal. And in the midst of the throne, and round about the throne, were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind.
These are 4 beasts that Ezekiel saw, right? Right? Let's read.
And the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast like a calf, and the third beast like a face of a man, had a face of a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle.
So that's the same parallel with the vision that Ezekiel saw. Okay, let's read.
And the 4 beasts had each of them 6 wings, and him about him, and they were full of eyes within, and they rest not day and night, saying, Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, which was and is to come.
Okay, so when you go in chapter 5, let's go to chapter 5. Start at 5 to chapter. I'm giving you the time period that he's looking at this. He's seeing this vision. He's seeing Christ's kingdom. He's seeing the 1,000-year rest and his full fulfillment. Right? Read.
And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals.
Okay, so jump down to verse 5.
And one of the elders saith unto me, Weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof.
I would laugh, and we're looking into this, that the elder that was speaking to him was actually him in the future, in the spirit. Because the 24 elders are the 12 disciples and also the prophets, the men of the Lord of old, that the Most High chose, right? But that's a whole different discussion. Let's read. And I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's just we're looking into some certain things. Let's read.
And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High, sent forth into all the earth. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden veils full of odors, which are the prayers of saints. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to the Most High by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and hast made us unto our power kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne, and the beasts and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and
now
thousands
the 10,000 of 10,000 was referring to the 144,000. But that number does not get revealed until Revelation 7. Right? So time period. Time period. So he's going in the spirit and he's actually seeing Christ's kingdom. Right? Where are we?
Verse 12.
Okay. And this is the thing about the 104,000. All. Not some, not most. The only way, when you go into the scripture, we're going to show it, that the 104,000 are his army, he's going to come back. We're going to show you that. And all the evidence is showing, for you to be one of the 104,000, you have to die for the name of Christ. You have to be a martyr. It's going to show you that. Jump down to verse...
And wisdom, and strength, and honor, and glory, and blessing. And every creature which is in heaven, and on the earth, and under the earth.
Okay, so jump down to verse. Let's go into the different seal, because you got the 7 spirits that were over the 7 churches, but these 7 spirits are also responsible to open up the what? The 7 vials, right? Of plagues that's going to come upon the earth. Okay, so keep that in mind. Jump down verse chapter 6 of Revelation, and I want you to start at verse 12.
And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed.
Salaki, that's not what I'm looking for. Start at verse 9. That's the one I'm looking for.
And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High.
So he was seeing different things going on, right? And he also saw them that were slain for the Most High, right? He was seeing the seal being opened, and who was opened the seal? Christ, right? Because when you go to chapter 4, they would say, who could open the seal? The Lion of Judah, right? He could open the seal. He was the one that opened these seals, right? Or he was commanding or commissioning, okay, open that seal, right? So let's read.
And for the testimony which they held, and they cried with a loud voice, saying,
they cried with a loud voice, read,
saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them, that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also of their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled.
Okay, so when you read events, you breaking it down. So okay, so in chapter 4, he sees thousands upon thousands. And he sees they're crying, how long will you not avenge our blood? And he said, wait until your fellow servants also get killed, right? So I want you to, so this time is between John the Revelator, Christ being in the throne of the Father, and the 144,000 are being collected, are being murdered and killed, and then being put up and things of that nature, right? I think it's in 14, but I don't want to go beyond that, right? So when you read, let's start at 7, right?
Revelation 7:1. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, beholding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads.
So now so we do know that now it's going to the time of what? The 104,000 being sealed. That's why it says after these things, after the 7 seals are open. So now is that time that the martyrs of Christ, those that are of the 104,000, are going to get killed. So if you want to be part of the 104,000, most likely you're going to get killed for the name of Christ, not for robbing a house or domestic violence. So I don't want to hear that. I'm being prosecuted, Elder. I'm in jail for what? Well, me and my wife got into an argument. Okay, yeah. That's not righteous act, right? All right. So it's for the name of Christ, right? Not for racial profiling or whatever, Okay, so keep reading.
Verse 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. The tribe of Judah.
Okay, we all know the 104,000, right? Okay, so let's jump to chapter 14. And 13. Start at 13. Set the stage.
Revelation 13:1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns,
Uh-huh.
and upon his horns 10 crowns,
Uh-huh.
and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And
So who he's seeing here? Rome, the rise of Rome. But he, in the island of Patmos, he was ready in the Roman Empire. But he's seeing that vision from the perspective of the heavenly, which is not bound by time. Right? So keep that in mind. So he see the rise in Rome. Read.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard,
Mm-hmm.
and his feet were as the feet of a bear,
Uh-huh.
and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power.
So you notice when you go to Daniel 7, Daniel described the first beast, the second beast, and the third beast, but he did not describe in detail the fourth beast. But in Revelation, he described the fourth beast, and the fourth beast has the characteristics from all the 3 previous beasts. Mm-hmm. The bear, the leopard, right? And the wings and all that, a dragon. So it took a little from Babylon, took a little from the Persian and Medes, it took a little bit from the Greeks, right? So it's a monumentation of all in one. It's like them on steroids. It's a much larger, grander version of all previous nations, right? So keep that in mind. Keep reading.
And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority.
Who is this dragon here? Satan, Lucifer, the old serpent, right? Okay, so Satan is working behind all these nations, right? Let's read.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed.
Okay, so when you go into that, these are all dealing with Roman inside conflict, Roman revolution wars or civil wars, that's a better word, dealing with each other, particularly like when we, at one point, like September Severus, who was a black man, conquered Rome and things of that nature. But it got healed when it came back as what? The new Holy Rome, the Roman Catholic Church, right? Constantine solidified the kingdom under this new religion, and they began to conquer the world. They got wounded, right? Okay, so keep that in mind. Jump down to chapter 14.
Revelation 14:1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion.
Now, in chapter 13, it goes into the mark of the beast. No one could buy or sell, right? The forehead, the right hand, this is all dealing with now and things of that nature, the mark of the beast, the chip and all that, right? So this is now it started from Rome into present time, right? So now, and to kind of stay, should I start at Revelation? Curse both in small and great, and small and okay. Start at 13, verse 15 to set the stage, because you understand these chapters were added much later. The book of Revelation, which is one book, so chapter 14, verse 1 is kind of a continuation of that thought. So I want to kind of read it and continue. Let's read it.
Revelations 13 and 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads.
Come on.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000.
So
when he saw the lamb in Mount Zion, what he's talking about here? What time period he's talking about here? After the mark. But what time is he talking about here? After his second coming. Right? When you go to Zechariah, I think 14, it says, and the Lord will stand in Mount Zion. Right? When you go into Second Ezra, right? The man that came out the waters and things of that nature, he will sit on Mount Zion. So this is talking about what? His second coming. Right? And with him, with who?
144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000.
Okay, so we know this time period is after what? Christ's second coming. Right? So I want you to just keep that in mind. Right? Let's read.
Which were redeemed from the earth. Verse 4. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and to the Lamb.
Right? This is talking about the disciples. Those that were killed for Christ. These were the first fruits. Stephen, right? These were the ones that were being killed for the name of Christ. Read.
And in their mouth was found no guile.
And when it says these were virgins, this is talking about religious or different philosophy, because this is all dealing with different religions and things of that nature. Let's read.
For they are without fault before the throne of the Most High. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear the Most High, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
So the time period that he's talking about here, the 24 elders, the 104,000 in America has fallen. Now, when you read, it's going to say that when you keep reading, it says that the Most High has remembered Babylon and to pour out his indignation, right? So I want you to stay there, because the word here, fallen, is talking about decay. America has become fallen. The governmental structure has decayed. At this time, America is no longer the superpower. It has collapsed, right? So keep in mind. But it has not received the indignation yet. But it's collapsed. That's why the Most High said, get out of her, my people. Because it has become the habitations of devils. Confusion all over the place. Right? But it's going to show you. Keep reading.
Verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation.
Give me the verse you in.
Verse 10. Middle of verse 10.
Of chapter 14? Okay, keep reading.
And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Verse 11. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yeshua. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, blessed are the dead which die.
So now, because sometimes you like I said, it's not bound by time. So at this time, he heard a voice from heaven So now, that voice that is speaking to John the Revelator is about to say something in his present time. So pay attention. And I heard a voice. Remember, this is the patient of the saints, right? That were killed, right? For the name of the Most High, for the name of Christ, the testimony of the faith of Christ, and the commandment of God, right? And I heard a voice from heaven saying, read.
Right. Blessed are the dead, which die in the Lord from henceforth.
Read that again.
Right. Blessed are blessed are the dead, which die in the Lord.
That die in the Lord
from henceforth.
What's the term henceforth coming? Hereafter. So after Christ, that's when that Mark 1, Mark 2, 104,000. Judah 1, Judah 2, Judah 3, Judah 4, Judah 5. Levi 1, Levi 2, Levi 3. Because now they're going to have a special place in heaven. Blessed of they that die for the name of Christ, henceforth. So the count started after that. Right? Keep reading.
Middle of 13. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them.
The 1,000-year rest. Right? Read.
And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having his head and a golden crown. On his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple.
Okay, so you got to pay attention because it gives you clues what time period he's in. So when we started at verse 4, it was giving you in this throne. After the, in this kingdom within the 144,000. Now it's giving you right before because he has a sickle. And when you have the sickle, what's the manifestation of a sickle? But what is it used for in farming? Reap the harvest. So now you know that he's talking about, okay, the 104,000 already been collected. It's time to him to reap the harvest and get the what? The raiment. Whatever's left over. Right? Let's read.
Verse 15. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap.
It's over. We already collected the 104,000. We just got to collect the rest. We got the governmental structure. It's done. Right? Let's read.
For the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped.
And the sickle represent here the angels, because he's going to send forth his angels to gather his elect. Right? Read.
And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vineyard.
Okay, so there was another angel with another sickle. They have power of what? Fire. Okay, that's what you got to pay attention with these parables that Christ bring out. The parable of the wheat and the tares. And what the Christ says, let them get it together. And at the end, I'm going to separate the wheat from the tares, and I'm going to put the tares what? Let's keep reading.
Middle of 18. Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of the Most High. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs.
So it give you how much blood is going to be spilled. It's going to be, it says the horses, read that again.
even unto the horses' bridles by the space of 1,600 furlongs.
So it's going to be as high as a horse bridle, and the horse bridle is like the neck, the hook. So it's going to be as high as almost like the horse's neck, and it's going to be as far as what, 1,000 furlongs?
1,600.
That's a lot of blood, right? Okay. So keep in mind. Let's keep reading.
15:1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark.
But how are they going to get the victory? They died, not receiving the mark. So the victory is actually not rejecting Christ, not rejecting his commandments and the faith of Christ. So that's a victory, right? Let's read.
And over the number of his name stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High. Verse 3. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of the Most High, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest.
Give me the chapter when it goes into Armageddon. Mount Megiddo. Shema, when you get that, I think, keep reading, Zach. It's 16. Okay, it's setting the stage. Keep reading, because I want to go there.
Verse 5. And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened. And the 7 angels came out of the temple, having the 7 plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, and having their beasts girded with golden girdles. And one of the 4 beasts gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials, full of the wrath of the Most High.
So it said, okay, Christ, let's get the sickle. It's time to reap. And how he's going to reap. There's 2 reaps. One is going to end up in a bonfire, right? And one is going to be received with Christ, right? He said, those in the right hand, come into my kingdom, prepare for you from the beginning of the foundation of the world, right? Prepare for my Father, right? So how, let's keep reading.
Who liveth forever and ever. Verse 8.
Keep reading.
And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of the Most High and from his power. And no man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled.
So this is how the reap is going to start, these plagues. You understand? But at this time, this is after the 144,000 have been already killed, slain, and they are waiting to return with Christ in their glory, right? To avenge their blood, right? Keep reading, verse 16, chapter 16.
And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, Go your ways, and pour out the vials of the wrath of the Most High upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man. And every living soul died in the sea.
Okay, where is Armageddon? Armageddon. Oh, I see it right here, 16. Okay, I'm so blind. And we got to get fix the lights in here because my eyes are leaving me and it is not helping me. Okay, all right, keep reading.
Verse 4. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say.
So start at verse 12. This is all different. These are different plagues that's going to happen after, when it's time to do what? To reap the harvest. To reap. Right? The works is done. Christ did his testimony. The 24 elders are already in the rulership, and the saints already been counted, right? The 104,000, right? So now it's hell on earth. Those that are here, right, and holding on, okay, until these are the remnant. We become the remnant if you are here. The leftovers, well, you know, but the good way, right? So let's read. What's remained of righteousness on earth. Okay? So let's read.
Verse 12. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. And the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out.
So the kings of the east may be prepared. Who are these kings? The Persians and the Medes. Syria and that area right there. These are going back to these are the people that are going to be destroying Babylon, right? So let's read.
Verse 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon.
Who's the dragon? So he saw 3 unclean spirits coming out of the mouth of the dragon. Read.
And out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
So the beast represents the governmental structure, which is saying is interchangeable, but this is talking about the the government structure. Read.
14. And they are the...
No, go back to the false prophet. What's the second one, or the third one, rather?
Third one, okay, I'll start from the top. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon.
3 unclean spirits coming out of Satan. Read.
And out of the mouth of the beast.
The beast.
And out of the mouth of the false prophet.
Out of the false prophet. To do what? Read.
For they are the spirits of devils.
They're the spirit of devils. Read.
Working miracles.
Working what?
Miracles.
Miracles. Read.
Which go forth unto the kings of the earth.
The kings of the earth. The governments. Read.
And of the whole world. To gather them to battle of that great day of the Most High Almighty.
So what is this talking about here? Satan, the Most High is going to let loose Satan, and Satan is going to bring a great blasphemy, a great lie, and he's going to combine government and religion, false prophets and government. And he's going to gather them into where? Keep reading.
Behold, I come as a thief.
Now, what did he say right after? Behold, I come as a thief. That just came out of nowhere. What did he say there? After he start from the beginning about the dragon. Pay attention.
Verse 13.
Come on.
And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils.
The spirit of devils.
Working miracles.
Working what?
Miracles.
So there's going to be certain things that's going to be happening supernaturally that's going to convince the people we have to go to the mountain of Megiddo. That's what Armageddon means, right? I'm probably pronouncing that word, right? So what is it talking about? Where's the Shamar or Yatab? You have the Strong's with you? Give me the word Armageddon and the Greek word and what it means and things of that nature. Just hold it, tell me when you got it, and we can go to that. Keep reading.
Verse 14. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle.
So here's John seeing this, right? Gathering them to the what? The battle. So Satan is going to deceive the whole world, bringing forth false prophecy, miracles. So you're going to see visions. You're going to start seeing things that the government say, oh, snap. Something's going to happen that people are going to start fighting in the island or the mountains of Megiddo, right, which is in Israel, like Lebanon in that area, right?
Elder, I got the
Okay, so hold on, right? Let's read.
To gather them to battle of that great day of the Most High Almighty.
And right after that, Zeb, what? Okay, who has a red color Bible? When it has the word of Christ in red.
I do.
Is word 15 is in red or is in black? So when John the Revelator was seeing it, he was writing this down, he got interrupted by Christ. And what did Christ told him? Read.
Behold, I come as a thief.
Behold, John, I come as a thief. Meaning, this thing that Satan is going to do is going to disturb the whole world. Because the context that he's reminding him the speech in Matthew 24. I'm not going to come the times you think. So this thing that's going to be happening in Megiddo, everybody's going to think that's the second coming of Christ. But I come as a thief, John. Remember what I told you? If it's ever be possible, even the very elect. So, and while he was writing this vision, Christ interrupted him and said what? Read.
Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his
watch. So there's going to be things like, nah, I'm not dealing with that. That's not prophecy of Christ. Watch. I come as a thief. Read.
Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
Right. We be in Megiddo. We got to defend Megiddo. We got tricked. So Christ had to re-emphasize that this thing is going to be so heavy spiritually that even the very elect will be deceived. That's why he told John, watch. He stopped him from him writing his prophecy, and he had to innovate this. So I said, okay, let me write this down, Christ. Because it's important. You're saying this, so this is important, right? So let's keep reading.
Verse 16. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
In the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Yatai, give me the Strong's and give me the geographical location.
All right, so this is the Strong's for Armageddon. It is G717, Armageddon, which is the hill or city of Megiddo. The scene of a struggle of good and evil that is suggested by the battle plain of Australion, which was famous for the two great victories of Barak over the Canaanites and of Gideon over the Midianites.
Okay.
And for the two great disasters of Saul and Josiah. Hence, in Revelations, a place of great slaughter, the scene of a terrible retribution upon the wicked.
Okay, I need the geographical location. Zeb, you got something? And your top, I need the geographical location. I think the blue that it tells you is south of Israel, by Lebanon. Your top, when you find it, when you got something else, and it gives you, maybe you could just go on just Google Armageddon or Mount Megiddo. Okay. Matter of fact, when you go into the Strong's, right? I think that word is a transliteration of the Hebrew tongue, correct?
Yes, Elder.
Okay, so you click on the Hebrew word there.
Okay.
And what's the definition there? Because that will give you the geographical location.
Okay, so this is Hebrew number 4023, and it's Megiddon, or Megiddo, a place in Palestine.
A what?
A place in Palestine.
Where's Palestine? Israel, right? So this war is going to happen in Israel. North Israel, but Israel nonetheless, right? Okay, that's it in that, your top?
That's it.
Okay, keep reading. So the Most High, let's get the scenario. There's two sickles, right? Thank you, sis, right? One sickle is to gather the righteous. The other sickle, another angel, has the power of what? Fire. He's going to gather the nations, right? Let's read.
Verse 17. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. And there were voices, and thunders, and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake, and so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts. And the cities of the nations fell.
Okay. And the city of the nations fell. So the Most High set up this delusion, and he used Satan to bring this delusion, to bring these 4 spirits, false prophets, to bring this miracle, these visions, to line up all the nations into this land of Megiddo. And all the nations are going to fall, right? But simultaneously, Babylon at this time is fallen, but the Most High has not remembered his wrath. Keep reading. Just going to show you something. Keep reading.
Verse 19. And the great city was divided into 3 parts. And the cities of the nations fell.
And the city of the nations fell. So the city of the nations falling, it was in what? Megiddo. He gathered all the nations there, and they're all going bankrupt. They're all being destroyed and things of that nature. And guess what? When we start looking at the history or the economic structure, all the money and structure, because the industrial military construct makes money out of war. And who's going to be getting money and getting power at this time?
Israel.
Nope. Rome. Babylon's fallen. All the nations are busy fighting each other over religious issues, Islam and Israel, and we have to protect Israel and all that. That's the big mystery. I mean, that's the big wonder, false prophecy. Prophecy is being fulfilled, 1948, right? The return of Israel, right? We have to defend Israel. We have to send money to Israel. Megiddo. That's where the war is going to be at. That's why we got to tell all these brothers from all these other camps, get out of there. You're in the middle of Megiddo. They be in Utah. We got to come to Israel 3 times a year and sacrifice and get burned. We have to start communicating with the UN and petition. This is our land. Set up shop here. You're in Megiddo. Armageddon is right there. It's another name for Armageddon. It's called Israel. Palestine. We got to come back home. Not until it gets purged, cleansed. How is it we're going to go back to Israel, be sacrificing, and right there in the West Bank is the largest gay parade every year? Tel Aviv. How can we have a righteous sacrifice in a polluted land? It has to be burnt with fire. That's how you purify things. Right? All right, let's read. Let's read.
Verse 19. And the great city was divided into 3 parts. And the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before the Most High.
Yeah, okay, I'm dealing with the Megiddo now. What's going on with America? Let's bring my indignation. Why is America needs to be burned? Read.
To give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed the Most High.
And this is talking about nuclear destruction. So the Bible sometimes, it's like saying, Yeah, America. The Most High forgot about America. I gotta destroy that country. And then it goes into a quick description and how it's gonna happen. But in the next chapter, it's going into more detail and things of that nature. You get what I'm saying? It's like a preview of a movie. A preview kind of gives you a quick preview of what's gonna happen, and you can watch the movie and you start from the beginning. The guy gets up in the morning, but in preview you see the zombies chasing him, right? But the movie kind of starts. So now, verse 21 is the preview, and chapter 17 is the movie. He's going to start from the beginning. Right? So let's read it.
Verse 21. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blasphemed the Most High because of the plague of the hail.
Right, because America is going to become the habitation of what? Every hateful bird, the demonic forces. There's going to be no God here. Imagine a place that when we do street preaching, we start a riot, that people start kicking out the city. Imagine a city, it's forget about the law. They're going to pass laws. The people are going to be possessed with evil spirits that the cops may have to come to protect us. You got to get out of here. This is getting a riot. Right? That's why when that time comes, it's time for us to do what? Shake the dust. Bajas con Dios, my friend. I'm out of here. Right? We did our job. Right? Chapter 17.
And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
Now he's going to break down this whore, this Babylon, that sits upon many waters. Now when you go into mainline Christianity, there's usually 2 ideology that you will hear. The whore, the woman, is the Roman Catholic Church. That's usually is a Protestant perspective. And that started with Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation. They started using this woman as Catholic Church as the woman as the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, when you hear their ideology, it say, well, it's the rise of Islam. You know, the rise of Islam, they deny Christ as being the Son of God, the Antichrist. They all associate that with, that's what they say if you read some of the literature. But it's all a deception. Remember the plagues or the frogs that came out of the dragon, the false prophecy? It all goes back to the same situation. Bait and switch, right? So let's keep reading.
Middle of verse 1. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
So in chapter 16, verse 21, it talks about the city being destroyed and things of that nature. That was the preview. Now I'm going to show you in detail how it's going to happen. Right? Okay, let's read.
Verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Right, because there is a major spirit in America that influenced the rest of the world. There is no other place like America. There was no other place that I was having a discussion with a brother that doesn't believe that America is Babylon. And I asked him a question. Which country is the most influential country in the world? Well, that's easy. That's America. Where's my case? That spirit has to be destroyed because it influenced. Is Russia influenced the world? Is Alaska and Africa and Australia? No. They want to be like us. All the stupid dance and all that, right? It's all us, right? Everybody's doing, little Chinese kid doing it, right? Running Man. That's showing my age, right? That's the 80s, right? That's all us. Music, right? Food, right? Culture, language, right? Anybody knows the president of Australia? Anybody know the president of Canada? No? We don't even care, right? Who cares? People in those countries don't even probably know. They don't even care. They know, Donald Trump is the president of the United States, right? Right? Okay. So we're the most influential country in the world. So that spirit of Babylon, that spirit that was in Rome, but then later was crossed over to the 10 horns, that was crossed over to the 3 horns, that was crossed over to that little horn that came out of 3 horns, is here in America. But the Rome hates America. Right? Let's read.
Verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast.
I saw a great red beast, 7 heads and 10 horns. But we all know this is all what? Rome. But she was riding this beast. If you're riding this beast, man, that means you what? In authority. You're controlling this. Right? Let's read.
Full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
And how is America controlling the beast? America, the woman's controlling the beast. The military might. We are the strongest military might in the world. So, if you want to destroy a country, what do? Launch wars. And what happened to the country? They will become what? Bankrupt. Exhausted of resources. Then we go fight in Megiddo. Throw more resources in Megiddo. I think Donald Trump, the same thing, the same spirit. I think he broke the record of helping Israel militarily. I think it used to be $6 million a day. I think that increased to $14 million a day. I think it's $1 trillion a year just on military might. Why do you think all that the firepower is going for? The little state is small as New Jersey. Why do they need all that firepower? The Most High is putting the Spirit upon them, right? To set up what? The war of Armageddon. It's going to be destroyed, right? So you're going to hear more. We got to defend Israel, the God chosen people. In 1948, it was a charter, and it was a country. We got to defend it. Look at Iran, Lebanon, all that conflict is supposed to happen. So get out of there, right? As the scripture says, keep your garment clean, right? Let's read.
Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth.
Okay, so it's a mystery, because it's a spirit that jumped from government to government to government. The first government that had that spirit was what? Ancient Babylon. Right? And then it began to jump into Egypt. Then it began to Syria. Then it began to, Nebuchadnezzar Babylon. Then the Persian, the Medes. And then the Greeks and the Romans. Right? It keeps jumping to different areas and then end up in America, which is a leg of Rome. Right? It's a horn that came out of the 10 horns. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her...
Right, who was that? That was Rome. It's all connected. They were killing the Christians. They were throwing us in lions' dens and all that. Right? They killed all the prophets, right? Let's read.
And when I saw her, I wondered with a great admiration. Verse 7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
Okay, and read.
And go into perdition.
Okay, so remember when the title is, when the Most High speak, when Christ speak, he is not bound by time, neither we. So when he says, yeah, that beast that you saw, right? Keep reading. That beast that you saw, repeat that again.
And the beast that thou sawest was and is not.
Wait a minute. It says was and is not. But wasn't John already in the island of Patmos and the Romans threw them in that? Wasn't he's in Rome? Wasn't he's in the beast? But he said, hey, that beast that you saw, there was and it's not. Read.
That was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition.
And go to the perdition. The word perdition means what? Wickedness. Right? And he's going to go into doing wickedness. What time period is Christ talking about here? What time period will Christ will have to be when he's saying these words? When is the beast? Who's the beast? Yes, but who controls Rome? Okay. When is the beast is going to go into the bottomless pit? Right. Revelation 20. Verse 1. We can start at verse 1. 20 and 1.
Revelations 20 and 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season.
To do what? To deceive the nation. So, go back to 17. So when John the Revelator is having this conversation with Christ, what time period Christ is sitting in? Within the 1,000 years. That beast that you saw, read that again. Read that again. Pay attention. Pay attention. Read.
17 and 8. The beast that thou sawest was and is not.
Was, but it's not. It's not what? Because right now I just bound him. Read.
And he shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
After the 1,000 years, he's going to be loose. And do what?
And go into perdition.
And go into perdition. You guys understand that? So sometimes when you read certain scriptures, Christ is speaking in a different time zone. He's not bound by John the Revelator's time period. He already won. So when he speaks in that authority. So sometimes you got to be careful when because many people will think that he already been in the bottomless pit. He already descended, because you even hear doctrine because the bottomless pit is the Caucasus Mountains because they got bottomless pits and holes in it. And they came out the bottomless pit, the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia, and they ascended and they went into perdition. You'll hear all these doctrines out here. Going to perdition is going to happen. It hasn't happened when Christ is speaking to John the Revelator. You guys understand that? Okay, keep reading.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the fountain of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
But yet is, read.
Verse 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth.
So it's not the woman, but it's 7 mountains, 7 governmental structure that the woman sitteth, which is wrong. Read.
And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come.
Come on.
And when he cometh.
So these were different Caesars that were ruling at one time that was doing the works of Satan. Right? Let's read.
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Verse 11.
So there's going to be another You want to call him Pope, you want to call whatever you want, maybe someone who's controlling the Pope or what have you, that is another, with 7 heads, with 7 kings, fire falling to it comes. So these are different administration that is dealing with the Roman Empire, right? That are going to destroy the woman. Read.
Verse 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and goeth into perdition.
And goes what?
Into perdition.
So we're doing research. The 8th may be after the 1,000 years. So the 7th, you understand? In other words, the 7th is the one that is going to come before Christ, and there's going to be another one that's going to come after the 1,000 years. But we don't quote me on this yet, right? Let's read. And we're trying to figure out the 7 heads and what it represents. Because yes, Rome stands in 7 physical mountains and things of that nature, but it's also dealing with governmental structure. Okay, let's read.
Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
Right. So the 7 heads is Rome. The 10 heads, the 10 tails is the European Union, and the extra head is America, right? So let's continue reading.
Verse 13. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
So the UN is going to give their power to Rome. Read.
14. These shall make war with the Lamb.
These are the ones that's going to make war with the Lamb, not America. America is going to be burned with fire. So when it's all said and done, all the nations, all the Arabic nations and those Turkish nations and all that, they're going to be in Megiddo, getting burned up with nuclear destruction. America is going to fall, get burned down with nuclear destruction. But who's going to burn them down and things of that nature? The 10 horns. They're gonna cut a deal with Rome, and they're going to plot that war in Megiddo is going to come over the seed. You understand? And fight, and we're going to be invaded. Or you sided with Israel? Oh, you sided with them? You understand? So this whole alignment with Israel and America is to set up the false prophet. We have to defend Israel, the God-chosen people. John Hagee, right? Stand with Israel, stand with Israel, stand with Israel. Right? So you're going to have Arabic people, Arabic soldier. Oh, you're a Christian? Oh, you believe in Israel? Where's your Israel now? Right? And I think I was having this discussion with Elder Lawya. I believe, go to your tab, go to, and I wrote it down. What I did with it. 2nd Ezra 15 and 11. That the Babylon is going to be attacked by the people of the east. That the east will come. Zab, you got that? Zach? Shamar. In 2nd Ezra, I think it's chapter 15. 15 and 14. Okay, let's give me the chapter verses. And 46. Okay, let's go there real quick. 2nd Ezra. So it's World War III. There's a major conflict in the Middle East. The Middle Easterns are going to win that war. Many people are going to be destroyed. America is going to become bankrupt and resolve all their resources, right? And then they're going to invade America. And then the last man standing is who? Who's the last man standing? Rome. Because they hate America. Because she got all the power. Right? Keep reading. Give me 2nd Ezra 15 and what was the scripture again? 15. Start at 11 and then I think it jumped down. Let me see. Let me get it real quick.
2nd Ezra 15 and 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with plagues, with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. Woe to the world, and to them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands.
So this here is talking about spiritual Egypt. It's really talking about America because that city is called Sodom and Egypt spiritually. So a lot of when it talks about that, it's talking about America. Let's read.
Verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their king. Their actions shall stand in their
So when it says Babylon is fallen, authority. Its government cannot control. The cops are not showing up. The Navy is on vacation. The Marines, they're on protest. Right? The reserve, you can't find them, right? So who's gonna bring order? No one until Christ brings order. So chaos, right? So the fallen is referring to that, right? Go down to 45.
And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear.
30, my eyes, 43, that's the one.
And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon, and make her afraid.
And they should go fastly unto Babylon. So we're going to first, there's going to be conflict here. Society is going to fall while Armageddon is going on. And then in the midst of that confusion, cops on strike, gang violence rising, all kinds of madness. Every helpful bird and demonic forces out here. America is going to be perfect for what? Invasion. And at that time, we're going to try to run to Mexico, but Trump put that wall. We're going to go back to Canada. Maybe we're going to go to Canada. Right? We see, right? So at that time, it's time for us. We should have been out of here. Right? Okay, keep reading.
44. They shall come to her and besiege her.
The
star and all wrath.
We good? Keep talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go. 1, 2.
Verse 44. They shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up into the heaven. And all they that
and the dust and smoke shall go up to where?
Unto the heaven. And all they that be about her shall bewail her.
And all that are around about her shall be like, America. Starbucks. No more Starbucks, right? I want to see that movie, last week. Avengers 15, right? We're all going to avenge her, right? All the people that are in this society, right? Read.
Verse 45. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear. And
so, read that again.
Verse 45. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that put her in fear.
Slavery. Captivity, martial law, invasion. What's your name? My name is Billy. Your name is Abdar. Right? Read. Do unto her as she has done unto you. Right? Read.
46. And thou, Asia, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person.
They're going to be, Asia, you're going to be like, oh, the sweatshop, like, where's all the workers? Well, nobody's buying. America's just collapsed. Right? Read.
47. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her.
You make it, so, you know, China and Japan and all those countries, they got duplicate like Times Square. They like mimic Times Square, you know. They got pop groups and all that, Chinese pop groups and all that, and they're version Backstreet Boys, and that's why my age, right? Elder, the Backstreet Boys doesn't exist anymore, Elder. Okay. Well, I don't know, you know, I don't know these groups these days. Okay, help me out here. Okay, right? They want to be like America. You know, Fast and Furious. They want to be cool like us. Right? Read.
And hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers.
Come on.
Which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions.
You are but hated from who? From the Most High. You have followed her that's been hated from all her works and all her inventions. Let's create a phone, an internet, or whatever you want. Just Google it. All the wickedness. Right? And what they do the same thing. Right? Let's read.
Therefore, saith the Most High, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence.
Because why? Then everybody they raising their resources in the island of Megillah. World War III is war is expensive. America is no longer buying resources from China. So now what's going to happen? The society is going to what? Collapse. Read.
To waste thy houses with destruction and death. Verse 50. And the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower. When the heat shall arise that is sent over thee. Thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes, and one chastised with wounds, so that the mighty and lovers shall not be able to receive thee.
Okay, go back to the Revelation, and we're almost done.
Revelation chapter 17, verse 13. No.
Yeah, you can start there.
These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb.
These will do what?
These shall make war with the Lamb.
The 10 horns Rome is going to make war with the Lamb because they're going to be the last superpower. After America's fall, Asia, the Middle East, they're all going to get destroyed in the great wrath, the great Armageddon war with the sickle, the angels gathering them with the power of fire, right? They're going to be burned up. And the last man standing, or the last wicked nation standing, is going to be Rome, but the last righteous man standing is going to be Christ, right? So let's read.
These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them.
The Lamb shall overcome them, obviously, because he's the Lamb of Christ. Read. The Most High. Read.
For he is Lord of lords and King of kings.
Come on.
And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
Those that are with him are the 144,000. Vengeance is the Lord's. That's when those people that got killed for the name of Christ could then bring vengeance. Right? Read.
Verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are the peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
Right, because this is the only country that you could find any nationality in this country? You got Little Italy, you got Chinatown, you got, you know, Crown Heights, you got Washington Heights, you got Harlem, you got, right? Any nationality, you can find a community in this country, right? I was speaking to Sister Helen from Minnesota. There's a large Nigerian and Ghanaian community in Minnesota, right? And things of that nature. I didn't even know that. There's like towns there and things of that nature. I was like, sister, how you end up over here from Africa all the way to the coldest? It was when I went there, it was 9 below zero. I was like, good Lord. Let me just pour hot water on me, right? It's freezing, right? But pick a race, find, you know, Polish, you know, community in America. You find here. Russian community, you know, you find there. You know, Alaska community, you find them, you know. Yeah, everybody has a community because every race is in this country, right? Let's read.
Verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore.
They will do what?
These shall hate the whore.
So if the whore is America, if the whore is Rome, as most Protestants would tell you, and Rome is in Europe, what, they're going to fight against himself? Read.
And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast.
And give their kingdom unto the beast. Now, if the beast is the seven heads, which is in Rome, and the Roman Catholic Church is in Rome, what are they going to burn himself? Makes absolutely no sense. This is America, my friend. It makes all the sense, right? Everything else is nonsense. Read.
Until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. Verse 18.
Now the word of the Most High shall be fulfilled. What is the word of the Most High? Christ. But what in particular of this? The prophecy dealing with what? He remembered Babylon. I forgot to pour my wrath upon her. You understand? So he's going to use the 10 horns to fulfill his word. Read.
Verse 18. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
That reigneth over the kings of the earth. That could only be America. We're the only one that have a military base in every single country for, you know, peace purposes. You know, for peace, to keep the peace. I think it's over 270 countries. You know, it's a base everywhere. And things of that nature. Matter of fact, one of the things that Trump is complaining about is that all these military bases is costing America money, and those countries should pay for those services and things of that nature. But what you don't understand is that those bases are being paid by taxpayers, but the people that are there are protecting what? Their resources. Whatever global company that is controlled, is being contract for wherever, natural resources going back to who? Rome. You understand? So it's like this. I got money. I'm going to hire you as a muscle man, right? Or you're the muscle man, and we have an agreement. But sometimes, although I got the money, you got the muscle. So sometimes you can stand up to me because you got the muscle. You understand? But if I start negotiating with other people with muscles, and you start running around depleting your resources, I'll be the last man standing because I still have the money, the bag. So that's the conflict between Rome and America, and they're working behind the scenes. And they're all Amaleks, the top, you know, and things, the top people. Let's read.
Revelation 18:1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice,
so
saying,
remember, it says, after these things. So we're going to be living through the war of Armageddon. You understand? And then once the Most High put the Spirit on Rome, the 10 horns, to go against America, this is what the Spirit is telling us to do. Get out. Read.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen.
It's already done. Why hold on to this country? Read.
And has become the habitation of devils.
It had become the habitation of devils. Read.
And the hold of every foul spirit.
Every foul spirit. Every foul spirit. You're going to have, you're going to have people running around topless, bottomless, pass laws against you, discriminating against me because I want to be freed and, right? You're going to talk to your teacher, listen, I don't want you to teach my student with your topless, can you arrest them? I'm going to sue you. How dare you go against my freedom, right? It's going to be a weird thing, right? So let's read.
And a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Uh-huh.
For all nations have drunk the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Uh-huh.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
Uh-huh.
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Uh-huh. Like Asia, right? We read that in 2nd Ezra. Read.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people. Read.
That ye be not partakers of her sins.
Of what?
That ye be not partakers of her sins.
Because it's going to be so difficult for us to even be righteous in this society, because everything is going to be, every spirit of Satan from the west hell is going to be in America. So it's, remember I tell you, we're not as strong as we think we are. Avoid certain things. It's going to come time we won't be able to avoid it. It's going to come time, when we're here, we were like, oh, listen, just go straight home, Mark. Don't go to your We're going to be looking out. It's going to get that bad. You know what I mean? It's going to get every helpful bird. You're going to see gay parade and, kinds of crazy stuff, right? People looking at you, oh, you want those Christians, right? Just go straight home, brother. It's dangerous just to get some milk, right? Every helpful bird. So you got, so when Christ already told, if they prosecute you in one city, go to the next, right? Let's read.
And that ye receive not of her plagues.
Verse
5.
And receive not of her plagues, because when if sin brings what? Illness, diseases, pestilence, right? Let's read.
Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities.
Yeah, he remembered Babylon. Right? Read. Now it's starting to say, okay, I want to bring this wrath. Read.
Reward her even as she rewarded you.
And
double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she hath glorified herself.
Come on.
And lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
Come on.
Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her.
So remember the sickle? One angel has another sickle came out with a sickle with the power of fire to burn. So you're going to have Israel's going to be burning and Babylon's going to be burning. You understand? And we're going to be outside of that watching that. And then after that, right? Let's go to Ezekiel 38. That's why a lot of these brothers are dealing with this return to Israel movement are doing it prematurely. Right? Because when you go into the scriptures, Ezekiel 38, I believe, start at verse 8, see what that says. And we almost done.
Said 18?
38 and 8. Ezekiel.
Ezekiel 38 and 8. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword.
That is brought back from the sword. So this is after the war. After the war of Armageddon. After the war gets burnt. And things of that nature. Right? Let's read.
And is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste.
It's been always waste. Read.
But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Most High Power. It shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land and unwalled villages, and I will go to them that are at rest.
So it cannot be talking about the state of Israel today, because they have walls dividing the Palestinians and the Israelis. There's highways with humongous walls, because one highway belongs to Israel and the other highway belongs to the Palestinians, and they put these walls because the Palestinians keep throwing bombs over to the Israelis. So cannot be talking about that state of Israel, because according to prophecy, we're going to be dwelling safely in a village without walls. Read.
I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. Sheba and Dedan, and the merchants of Tarshish, which all the young lions thereof shall say unto thee, Art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey? To carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil? Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto Gog, Thus saith the Most High Power, In that day, when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know it?
Should you not know it? Read.
And thou shalt come from thy...
And why? Why is the Most High saying this? Because this is after the fall of Babylon. This is after the war of Armageddon. You understand? And then after that, we're going to be walking in. There's going to still be conflict, but all the power is going to go back to Rome. And they're going to still be wars, and then they're going to start. And when you read this scripture, it's actually Gog and Magog accusing Israel. Are you come to take a spoil? And things of that nature. And then is the Most High telling Gog and Magog, when my people are in Israel, didn't you know that, that's prophecy? Didn't you know you should have left them alone? And things of that nature. They're going to start accusing us of taking spoil. This land doesn't belong to you. So they're going to be in the middle of all this. In the latter days, they're going to get reports, blacks and Latinos are setting up shop in Israel. And I'm hearing all kinds of resources are springing up. All kinds of things, because right now the land is really desolate because the real people are not there. When we go back there, after the Most High purifies it, there's going to be trees and flowers and fruits and vegetables and all kinds of situations. But not until the fire, right? The purification, right? So let's go back. Revelations, because that's a whole different lesson that we could do. Revelation 18. Let's pick it up.
Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
Come on.
Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine. She shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Most High Power who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her, when they shall see smoke of her burning.
Come on.
Standing afar off of the fear of her.
So when people believe, well, when it says get out of her, my people, it's talking about the religious institution. So break down this fire. If it's symbolic, if you don't have to get out of a physical place, you got to break everything down. Everything has to be symbolic. You have to explain it. Okay, read.
Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her merchandise anymore.
We make nothing. We buy everything. It's made anywhere else but here. Right? There's only a few companies that make certain things. Yeah, I get it. But the majority of the things that we make, and we put is made in Iraq, made in China, made in Israel, made in everybody else, but it said America, right? Let's read.
Verse 12. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner vessels of ivory, and all manner vessels of most precious wood, and of brass, and iron, and marble.
And jump down to verse 21.
And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of harpers and musicians, and of pipers and of trumpeters, shall be heard no more at all in thee.
Yeah, no more MTV, no more, right? Read.
And no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee.
Come on.
And the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. And the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints, and of all that were slain upon the earth.
Verse 19, chapter 19, we'll end it there. Let's read.
And after these things I heard a great voice of people in
so
heaven.
After these things, I saw a great voice in heaven, read.
Saying, Kal Yada, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our power. For true and righteous are his judgments. For he hath judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. And again they said, Kal Yada, and her smoke rose up ever and ever.
So if they're still in heaven, that means Christ has not come down yet. This is the destruction of Babylon, right? Let's read.
And the 24 elders of the 4 beasts fell down and worshipped the Most High. At that and worshipped the Most High that sat on the throne, saying, Aman, Kal Yada. And a voice came out of the throne, saying, Praise our power, and ye his servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard as it were the voice of a great multitude, and the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunderings, saying, Kal Yada, for the Most High Power omnipotent reigneth. Let us be glad and rejoice, and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come.
Now the marriage of the Lamb has come. Now we're there. We're ready. We have kept our clothes clean, our garment clean, right? We have not defiled by following the false prophet and those 3 spirits that have come out of Satan, right? We have not involved. We clean. We did not get burned in Armageddon. Read.
And his wife hath made herself ready. Verse 8. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints.
Okay, so that's when we are there in Israel. We went in after Armageddon. We started establishing, the land began to receive us. We began to praise the Lord and things of that nature. And then we became pure in heart and spirit, right? And we are ready for that marriage. Christ is ready to receive us now. Read.
Verse 9. And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb.
Come on.
And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of the Most High. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yeshua. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yeshua is the spirit of prophecy. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war.
He does judge and make war. But who he's making war against now? Majority, the whole world. But who's the superpower this time? Rome, right? Because they're going to fight against the Lamb. Read.
Verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses.
Who's the armies? The 144,000. Read.
Clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, and that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress and the fierceness of wrath of the Almighty power.
Right. So who is this that comes out of Bozrah? Right. I think Jeremiah 23. Right. The winepress talking about Christ. Right. Out of Edom. Right. Read.
Verse 16. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
And his vesture, meaning his clothes, and by his thigh he had a name. Right. Read.
And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse, and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him.
Remember, right? The spirits that came out of Satan to bring miracles to deceive the whole world. That's why Christ said, hey, don't forget, I come as a thief of the night. You're not going to expect it when I come, right? The way I come. Let's read.
With which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh.
Come on.
Chapter 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little while. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them, that I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yeshua, and for the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, and neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years.
Let's give the Most High hand. All praises. Does anybody have any questions they need to get clarified? All praise to the Most High. Anybody has any particular question? I see your hands up. Can we get a cordless mic? There we go. Thank you, sir. And your top, you have a mic in your end? Oh, that's it? Okay, just in case I need to. I see a hand up over here. And I see some few other hands.
Shabbat Shalom. I have a couple of questions. The first one is real quick. When you said that the beast was the government structure and the dragon was Satan, but I didn't catch who the false prophets were. Would that be like the Pope and the religious leaders?
Yeah, I would say propaganda machine. You know, and that could be manifest in different ways. You know, they are working, you know, in different devices. Like, you ever heard of the term Blue Beam, Project Blue Beam?
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, so sometimes we have to be very careful for us to say, okay, this prophecy is going to happen this way, that way, right? This vision is going to happen this way, that way. We could leave the doors open for different execution and how Satan's going to work. But you got to keep watching. Because like when Peter saw the unclean and clean animals coming down, he didn't get it until he met Cornelius. So sometimes certain prophecies you have to experience, or we're going to experience to say, okay, that's Blue Beam.
Yeah,
you know?
that was gonna
right?
be the
Or
next
it could be a literal guy prophesizing and things are going to be coming true and things of that nature. I don't know if you ever seen the argument or the you know, you see this in the Left Behind thing of the two witnesses in Israel. They're going to be prophesying. They're going to get killed. Yeah. They may do that as a reenactment. They're going to be running around doing prophecy, and people are going to actually believe them. And they may even be black. Right? Yeah, that's deep, you know. Right? That got to be us. That's prophecy, Ark. Right? Because if it even be possible, they will deceive the very elect.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question.
That's probably why they come in with that Project Blue Beam.
Yeah.
To put the image in the sky so everybody can see it.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that coincide with don't go back into your house? If they say I'm over there, don't believe it. If they say I'm over there, don't believe it. That's part of that.
Exactly.
And the last question is the armies that's going to be fighting against each other.
Yes.
They're going to be killing each other, but when they see a Christ and the 144,000 coming, with the weapons that they have, that the Most High allowed them to make, those are the weapons that they think that they're going to defeat the armies with.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe that the reason why America is giving so much money to the state of Israel, because they are dealing with weapons that are antimatter weapons, weapons that are not of this world. Because how much more money are you going to give for the military? I mean, good Lord, how much more defense do you need? And things of that nature. And really, where is that money going? When you go to Israel, you don't see this. So they must be hiding something. I believe they're hiding stuff in the side of the north in, what's that mountain? Moriah. Because there's military bases, so there may be some underground stuff. So it may be a situation that when Christ comes, you may see grounds of Israel opening up with some weapons underground that they never knew they existed. Because where is money going? So this little country. Exactly. So who knows? But absolutely. I saw another hand up. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good question, sir.
Shalom, Elder. So as you was going through the lesson, you said kind of that you know, the elect will already be gathered. The 144 rather will already be gathered.
Yeah.
Prior to a lot of those seals opening up, right?
Yes.
And so when we was reading through 16, Revelation 16, there was certain things that it seems like they may have been manifestations of those seals being cracked.
Yeah.
Right? So would that mean that we all are more so just a remnant and elect the 144,000 are already ready, and we're just the elect or the
We don't know.
the
That's a good question. We don't know because if the majority of the seal started in Israel and Jerusalem, specifically with Christ, henceforth, blessed be those, right? And the majority of the 10 tribes were scattered when they got sealed. And not to say the 10 tribes were not in Israel. I'm not saying that that's not the case. And it could have happened, but we do not know. That's why Christ said, I come as a thief in the night. So I think he made it that way for us to be in our toes, because if we know that we're the remnant, or let's just say we know, you know, there's only like 300 of the 104,000 been sealed. Like, we got time, you know. It's probably next generation. You know, things that, so I think the Most High made it that way to make it hard for us to make it, you know, for us to be in our toes. But we don't know. That's a good question. We don't know. Yep.
Yeah, so Abraham bosom, is that the same place where John was, or is it two separate places?
John
the Revelator, when he was getting a revelation.
No, he was in the island of Patmos. He was actually,
he was in the island of Patmos, but
physically, spiritually, where the Most High took him.
But the Most High, where the Most High is at, that's the same place as the.
I think the Spirit took him. I think the Spirit took him at different point, and at different times. It would be like, so when you read Revelation, sometimes John will see certain things, and he's speaking he's writing it down what he's seeing, and then the angel is speaking to him as already happened. So he see a future thing, but the angel sometimes speaks to him as if, you know, it happened in the past, and something is happening in the future, and things of that nature. So it doesn't mean that that's the case. It's because the angel is speaking to him in a different time period, because the angel was taking him in a different time of the kingdom. It was taken when Christ was taken up, like Revelation 12. It's breaking down about the woman and with the 12 stars and the sun and moon on their feet, talking about Israel. It goes back in the beginning where Satan cast down the third part of heaven. It goes into the time of Christ being caught up. It goes into a time of Satan being cast down. So it takes a different time. So when the angel is having this conversation and you're seeing the actual thing, like it's like a movie, you know, the angel will take me in the middle of the movie, and he's breaking down the movie from that time of the movie and things of that nature. But you're not in the movie, you're over here before the movie started. So you're seeing it from the future, but when he takes you in the spirit, he's taking you in the midst, in the middle of it, in the middle of the war or the conflict or the prophecy to be fulfilled. So he will speak in past tense because he's taking you in the future. So the revelation is not bound by time, so you have to be very careful when you're reading something. That's why most people say that when it says that he should go in perdition, this is talking about, some people say, oh, this is talking about the Antichrist or what have you. But it's talking about after the 1,000 years. You know, things like that. You go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so Abraham bosom is the same place where the Most High sits.
No.
Okay.
No. Abraham bosom is an area in where the souls are resting and waiting. When they're waiting to get avenged. So that conversation, so remember when he saw the vision and he heard those that stood in white and said, how long should we wait here? And how long should you avenge our blood? That conversation, he probably witnessed that in Abraham's bosom. But when Christ was talking to him about the beast, there is, and things of that nature, he saw that in Christ's kingdom. And when he saw the 24 elders throwing the crowns and things of that nature, and the 104,000 singing the song of Moses, okay, that was in the kingdom. So he took him in a different dimension, a different time zone. Shamar, you want to say something?
Also, if you read in the book of Enoch as well, it'll tell you exactly where the Abraham bosom is. It's actually in the center of the earth. That's where everybody goes, all right? So there's different chambers inside the earth, and Abraham bosom is one of them.
Yeah, and they're being reserved. Anybody else? Yep, over here. And I see a hand over here. I see it over here. I think we need like 3 mics today. And then we got a sister over here. We got a sister. I think I see somebody over here. Yeah, brother.
When you talk about the 144, and you're talking about those are sealed, and you said when it talks about those who do not defile with women or spoke guile out in their mouth,
yes,
what that actually means?
It is referring to religion or different philosophy. Women represent here different philosophies and different religions. They were not defiled with different women and things of that nature. There is a doctrine out there that the 104,000 are going to be virgins, literally, like men that don't lay with women and things of that nature. That's not what it's talking about. But that's a lesson on its own. Right. So, in the script, John says, "Blessed be those that speak without offense, without guile, and things of that nature." These are the cream of the crop of our people, and things of that nature. You know, and that they are perfect in their ways. Now, when you go into speak no guiles, it sometimes is referring to from the perspective of the Most High, not from men. Meaning, some people will say, well, they spoke no guile, that means they got along with everybody. No. It was more like from the angels looking down, that brother spoke right. He didn't speak, he was correct on that judgment. He was correct in that breakdown of that law. He spoke no blasphemy. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes it's not, we look at everything from our perspective, but sometimes we have to look at it from the Most High perspective looking down on us. Yeah. Yes.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom.
My question is in 2nd Esdras 15,
yes,
verse 11.
Yes.
I'm not sure how to word it, but I want to know in 11 when he said he will take his people out with a stretched forth arm,
yes,
as he did in Egypt.
Yes.
Does this have to do with when we're leaving? Because I'm thinking, and it's just something I've been wondering.
Yes.
How would he get the glory if we get up ourselves and go?
Good question. How did Most High got the glory in Egypt? Yeah, you could give the mic back to the sister. Yes.
Oh, when he appointed Moses to let his people know that he heard their cry and he is basically...
But more, give me more. What happened to Egypt?
Well, when he showed the plagues.
Exactly. Egypt did what? Collapse. So when we see this collapse, okay, this is the Most High. So when we up out of here, right? Because it's like this. Let's say you have your parent, you're a teenager, and your parent tells you, don't drive this car. And you drive the car. But then the car clunks on you. It goes wrong. So you put it back, you wheel it back, you don't drive it anymore. And things of that nature. Are you doing the will, and then you stop driving it? Are you doing the will of your Father because the car is there, you could drive away with it, or it doesn't work anymore? It doesn't work anymore. So when we see the glory of God of this society being collapsed and every helpful bird and spirit is among us, this is God's work here. This is, you understand? So when you go into the way Egypt operated, remember all these plagues and all that, Egypt never was the same after that. So we were like, we got to get out of here because this is the Most High. So we're not going to take credit because if America would still be going on and premieres and movies and you could click on the television, we would never leave. So I hope that answers your question and things of that nature. So it's going to happen the same way. Yeah. And I saw a hand over here. I think there was a sister over there. Yep. Yes, sir.
When you spoke about Armageddon earlier today, right?
Yeah.
That location.
Yeah.
That they could gather.
Yeah.
Is that same as Joel 3?
Joel 3. Yeah. 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 Okay. It is. It's all associated with that. Yep.
Okay. I have another question. In Revelations chapter 11, verse 7.
Yes.
Right? It says, when you were talking about the time periods.
Yes.
And you said Christ also is authority over all those different sections in time, and
yep.
you know, he bringing forth. I wanted to get an understanding. Revelations 11:7, and when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them,
right,
and shall overcome them and kill them. And verse 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they of the people and kindred and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to put in graves. And they shall dwell upon the earth, shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because their two prophets tormented that dwelt on the earth.
Yes.
And after those 3 days and a half, the spirit of the life from the Most High entered into them,
yeah.
and they stood upon their feet, and a great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from the heavens saying unto them, come up hither. Yep. And they ascended up to the heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. So those are Israelites that were killed at
yes.
that time.
Yes.
And but from the beast coming from the bottomless pit.
It's okay. So good thing you mentioned that. Mm-hmm. So yeah. The bottomless pit is at that time hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen. Right. So it's like saying Satan, he's going to come out of the bottomless pit after he's bound, right? And so now, here's pre-thousand, post-thousand. So he's describing what's happening here, but he's associating with something that happened over there. It's going to happen over there. So he's making a reference that Satan is going to destroy and kill the saints, that it's going to come out of the bottom of the pit in the future, but it's going back and forth. You get what I'm saying? It's like he's giving a future reference of what's going to happen to him, but is referring to something before Christ. So, but you know, so I know it's confusing because sometimes, because Satan has not been thrown in the bottomless pit yet, and things of that nature. But when you read that, it gives you the impression that he came out already. In the same way as people would use that as the Antichrist when it says that the beast that you saw that is not, but would ascend out of the bottomless pit, is giving the impression like when he's operating, he already came out the bottomless pit. But Christ sometimes is talking future and past, and he's not bound by that. So it's like I'm talking to you something you're doing, and I'm referring to you for you. It's like, let's just say when you're like 63 years old, they're gonna have a nickname for you, but we don't know it. But when Christ is talking about you, he's referring to you that nickname because he's not bound by time. You understand? It's like kind of weird that way. It's like he goes back and forth in time, so that's why you have to be very careful when you're reading and things of that nature. Because if you look, when you read it, it gives you the impression like Satan already came out of the bottomless pit, and went out to perdition. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yep. I think we got a hand over here, and then sister, you're next, and then you give your hand up. Yes, sister.
In Revelation 19 and 21, when it says, "And the remnants were slain by the sword," is that the huge portion of the remnants of Israel that's not making it to the kingdom?
What chapter and verse? And read it for me, if you don't mind, sister.
Okay, it's Revelation 19:21, and the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh.
Right. So the remnant is after the war, or it's going to be during the war. They're going to be fighting against each other. Okay. So just imagine, I got 1 million soldiers, you got 1 million soldiers. We're fighting and we're killing each other. and we got 300 soldiers, and you got 450 soldiers, and we're still fighting, and what's the remnant? Christ will come, and we'll stop fighting each other, and we'll start fighting with him. So the remnant are what's left over after the war, you know, or towards the end of the war, because the war's going to still be going on, because they're going to be fighting each other, and when Christ comes, they're going to stop that fight and fight against him. Now, what I'm thinking is, because when you go into the circumstantial evidence, you have to put it all together. Satan's going to send a spirit of 3 spirits of deception to perform miracles and things of that nature. So it's going to look like it's going to be a religious war. Nothing would bring you into war, you know, protecting your religion. So something's going to go down that people are going to be fighting, and somehow the land of Armageddon, that land of Canaan, is going to be the central place where the Most High is going to manipulate everybody to end up in that area and things of that nature. And something's going to go down that they're going to think it's okay for them to fight against Christ. So it's going to be a major heavy deception. How it's going to be executed, I really don't know. I just want to be in the wilderness eating my pancakes and cereal, and in the tent, don't bother me. I'll be waiting, praying and fasting. Go ahead, sister.
Shalom. Elder, I just wanted to know.
After I eat my pancakes, then I'll press, you know, every other day, you know. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, sister.
When John had this vision, he was exiled to the Isle of Patmos.
Yes.
Is that where he died, or did he ever go back with the general population?
Good question, good question. I know John is the only one that did not got killed for the name of Christ, but that was a blessed thing. He was called blessed because of that, right? Like, he was able to live long his life and things of that nature. John the Revelator. I know he kind of outlived all the other apostles, I believe. Correct, Shimon? Okay, all right. But where he died, I don't know. That's a good question.
Did he ever go back with the general, like his
general
people?
population? I got to find out where he died. I know that they're trying to throw him in some hot boiled water thing. He survived that, and then they throw him in Patmos, right? So he was disfigured, you know, when he was in Patmos. Okay, but I don't know if he died there eventually, or he, you know, after a while he left and things like that. But I think he was able to go back, right? Ephesus, right? There's some rumor that he went to Ephesus, but it's not, you know, been confirmed.
And that's how we were able to get a record, because he wasn't there in an aisle by himself.
Yeah, and what happened is he probably took the record back to Ephesus, or because I remember in these islands, in these prison type of situations, you could get visitation. Something like you go to prison and things of that nature. People could bring you food or what have you, because he was not the only one there. The island of Patmos was like an island of like Alcatraz, like it was an island for prisoners. Like Rikers Island, exactly. It was like a type of situation. You get exiled there and things of that nature. And there was no boats. It was not like a jail, like a prison, but you in that island, you know, exile. And I think what it is, like family will come to visit you and bring you stuff and food and things of that nature. And they would go back. And it was like governed by the Roman Empire. You know, so not anybody could go and just take a boat there, because you have Roman centurions guarding the place to make sure nobody trying to rescue you. It was like a prison. It's like an exile place.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. One question and 2 questions. And okay, we got 1 question here, 1, 2, and it'll be the 1, 2, 3. These will be the last 3. Yes, brother.
Shalom.
Shalom.
I just had when you were reading Revelations 5 verse 6, it was you said something about the 7 spirits of the Most High.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's written, but what are the 7 spirits of the Most High?
So when you go into the beginning of the Bible, the beginning of Revelation, you had 7 angels over the 7 churches. And these 7 angels were responsible to make sure to guide the churches. So John the Revelator was speaking to the angel of the angel of Asia Minor, the 7 angels that were over the 7 churches, and telling them, go to the bishop and tell them what's wrong with that church. You forgot your first love, you know, beware of this, beware of that, and things like that. But those same 7 angels are the ones that are going to be responsible for laying out the 7 plagues. So they kind of hold a major responsible responsibility. And I think they are also, I believe, they watch over the nations and report what's going on and things like that. So we got one question and the last question in the back. Yes, sister.
Yes. In Isaiah 11, verse 11 and 12.
Yes.
Is that describing when we flee? Are those the places that we will be brought back from?
Romans, read that.
It's Isaiah.
Isaiah
11, verse 11 to 12.
Oh, yeah. So those are the areas we're going to be in the latter days. Those are the areas that we're going to be, and things of that nature. They're not the only place, but, we're going to be from the Isles of Greece, the Greek islands, the ships of Tarshish, okay? We're also going to be, some of us in Egypt, some of us are going to be in Ethiopia, also mentioned Syria, different areas, outside of Israel and things of that nature. And we're going to be keeping safe. And those are the areas that the Gentiles who did not hear the Most High's name are going to glorify, because they're going to be converted unto thee. So the majority of the Gentiles that's going to be helping us, sustained until all this thing goes down, is going to be those areas, those Gentiles in those areas and things of that nature. And then the last question in the back.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
I have a two-part question. So the first question is, when the mark of the beast is already here, we know that. But when it starts coming to the point to where we're not going to be able to buy or sell, because if we're working, our paychecks won't, or our money won't be physically deposited. It'll be, through the mark. And then is that something that we have to flee before it gets to that point, or when it's by that point, then we have to leave?
Yeah, I would say I would like to be out of here before that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to be out of here, because then if you're not going to eat, if you cannot eat unless to those methods, how are you going to eat and things like that? Yeah, you're not, what is it? You don't, a man does not live by bread alone, but I would like to be out of here before then. Now, yeah, could be a situation and we have enough resources in the church to buy some time to have some farm, and we could, eat ourselves and things of that nature, but they're even passing laws against that, against farmers and all that. So I would like to be out of here before that.
Okay, and the second question is, with the mark of the beast, that it talks about in Revelation chapter 13. I guess my question is, when churches align themselves to be a part of the 501c3, can it be looked at they've already sold themselves or taken the mark already with being a 501c3?
No, and yes, in a sense. Like, you have other churches that are crazy radicals. They are part of the 501c3, right? But the government can use that as a tool to control you. In other words, a lot of people, that's why we didn't go with the 501c3. We went another route. Because in the future, when we read the legal terms, it was too sketchy. So then they could use that, and it really is not a thing to control you. When we read the literature and we went to legal counsel, what they kind of told it was more like, you could get in trouble for this, you could get in trouble for that. They could take you down for this, they could take you down for that, and things of that nature. So it's a tool to control, but it's not the mark of the beast yet. And things of that nature. They may apply that, like for instance, if I under the 501c3 and I go and try to get a grant from the government, like a daycare center, and there's a little boy that thinks he's a little girl, I cannot discriminate against him. If I do that for religious purposes, they could come and take out. It's a form of control and things of that nature. We will never ask for a grant in the government and things of that nature in any sense of the word. But it's like those things. It's a contract. It's you when you under contract. You let go of your rights, and that's what we didn't want to do as a religious situation. So it was sketchy in regards of that. So I want to say that's the sign of the mark of the beast, but the mark of the beast can expound upon those laws and add to the point it will force you. For you to have these status, you have to have this, that, and the other in your church. You have to agree to the mark of the beast. And the 501c, a lot of these governments, these churches, they're already in bed with the government, and they already have these pastors that they will go out and bring out Romans 13, submit to the powers that be, as a tool to control the mass. Like what the Bible said, you have to submit to the government, that's not talking about the government, it's talking about the church. Okay, so thank you for your questions. Last question. Go ahead, brother. Yeah, is 508 or 508 and things of that nature. It's a nonprofit charter, and it's a nonprofit thing that is protected. The religious institutions are protected, and things of that nature. And it's more constitutional driven, not contract driven, and things of that nature. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, it's like a shield, it's just a legal protection and things of that nature, because religion is the only institution in America you could still discriminate against people. I could discriminate against a homosexual as a pastor and say, you cannot be a homosexual, you have to repent if you want to have salvation. By definition, that's discrimination. Religion is the only institution that's still left in the papers that you could still say that and not get sued, right? Only men could become bishop and lead the church. That could be considered. If I own a corporation and I say only men could become managers or owners or what have you, I could be sued. So the church still is the last, one of the last of the laws that could be protected. When you go into the 501c3, it's contract. You cannot stand upon that. And that's the problem we had. 508. 508. You can look it up. It's a charter, a UN charter. Okay, thank you for all your questions. All praise to the Most High. Great questions. Okay. And who is here for the first time? First timers? Anybody here for the first time? We got one. And that's it, just one. Okay, brother, who are you? Why are you here? Who invited you? Are you coming back?
My name is Robert Caesar. I just flew in from North Carolina yesterday, and I'm here because my wife here kind of turned me on to this G.O.C.C, watching the videos and so forth, and I said, okay, let me see what's going on here. I'm going to take a look into it. And so far, I like what I'm looking into, and I'm hoping to stay with it and learn more.
All right, welcome. All praise to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Okay, so we're going to get ready for the announcement, but before we do that, we're going to have a collection. The officers are going to come in down the aisle. Whatever you guys could give, please give, and with your heart, with a cheerful heart, because it's through your donations is how we be able to pay the rent for this building. It's from your donation we able to pay the rent in Brooklyn. The season is changing, so it's time to get these air conditioning up in here. I know last year we were trying to get these things because it gets hotter here in the summer. So we're going to try to pump these air conditioning on. We also try to get more lighting in here, especially now I can't even read. I don't know, is it me? I'm the only one struggling with lighting. It's getting like that. So we have to get these brighter lights in here. So it's through your donations allows us to do that. Also, the pastor